Hello, welcome everyone. We're here to talk today about Turnitin's newest service, Turnitin Originality. Now, there are a full team of us here today to talk with you. Actually, I'm doing the talking, and the people behind these smiles that you see here are here to just help answer your questions or help with any kind of QA or interactivity that you want to have today. And we're looking at Gretchen and Tyler, Megan, and Mariana, and Alexis. So please feel free to use the chat or drop in any things into the Q&A as well. And then if there's anything that I can't, they can't answer on the spot, then I'll help take care of it at the end of our time together. So my name is Gabby, and I work here at Turnitin, and I support academic integrity. And like so many of us here at Turnitin, I'm a former college instructor and also had a decade of working with instructional design as well. Okay, so Turnitin has evolved yet again, and we have a new standard for academic integrity called Originality. Now, these are the topics that I can cover today. However, I don't want to make you wait for these, so I'm going to go ahead and get the first four out of the way. So what is it? Turnitin Originality is a comprehensive integrity service. And if you currently use Turnitin Feedback Studio, this could serve as an upgrade. And the question we get a lot is how is it different? It actually uses everything that you might already know and love about Turnitin or Feedback Studio, just added in some more capabilities in addition to those. And getting set up actually could happen automatically. It's just from our side, just letting us know that you want to use those capabilities, and we turn on a switch and automatically you're going to have those new capabilities. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Is there a cost? So the cost could vary, and that is something I'm not going to be able to speak to in a general fashion today, but you're welcome to talk with your account manager to get more details on what that would be for your institution. And what does it do? Well, that's the fun part. So let's get started. You're going to see an absence of a lot of logos here because most of my talk today really isn't about Turnitin. It is about you. Now, Turnitin may be a big name, but we're actually a very small company and group. And our focus is around helping put energy around facilitating more of what you see here. And it's really that sweetness of connection where instructors are unburdened by administrative tasks, and they can put their time into sharing stories and really making learning come alive. And it's also where your students feel heard, and they can feel vulnerable and safe and really encouraged to learn and grow. The scaffolding for this environment that I just painted the picture of for Turnitin really happens with our full suite of integrity and assessment solutions. We can offer you tools to help bring integrity into the admissions process. And you can also have integrity management within your long form writing assignments, which is what we're going to focus on today. And then you also can bring integrity even into your STEM courses, the science, technology, engineering and math courses. And not only integrity, but our GradeScope solution really offers remarkable grading technology for digital and handwritten work. And this has actually become a really key component in most institutions' COVID response planning this year. And lastly, if you have, we have self-service integrity tools to help support mitigating risk if you do research at your school. Also, if you have graduate student work, we can offer those tools, or even grant proposals in checking that work before you submit that grant proposal. So the secret sauce for Turnitin really comes down to our database. Now, the database itself is ginormous. We crawl and index the internet every day. And we also take a fingerprint of every student submission that goes through our service so that we can offer that matching service to you. And then we also have relationships with, gosh, about 95% of the top 10,000 journals in the world. And all of this just means that when you run your students' work through Turnitin, you can be confident that we're going to locate any citation issues. Now, I want to ask you, where do you think most of the student matches that we see come from? Now, the internet, textbook, or a friend's paper. Now, I've kind of got a clue already up here on the screen, but we noticed that a majority of content or matches that we see in students' work really comes from other students' work or from publications. And only about 10% or so actually comes from copying and pasting the internet. So that is why so many institutions trust Turnitin with their integrity management. Now, 10 years ago, most students were really just kind of copying and pasting out of Wikipedia, and Turnitin was providing just the matching service there. However, we see a lot more sophisticated methods happening with students, and I want to talk about what we're seeing. The first trend is around ghostwriting and contract cheating. What is that? Contract cheating is a term that's been coined now, and it's where students will ask a friend or a spouse, or they might go out to the online marketplace and hire someone to do their assignments for them. Now, the first big event where that kind of showed up on all of our radar was something called the My Master's scandal out of Australia. It was a couple of years ago. And this is where a newspaper published a list of all the universities that had granted degree programs to their students who were found to have been customers of this contract cheating website. So this was that moment when those schools came to us here at Turnitin and asked to partner with us on finding a way to deter and detect contract cheating. And that was the moment that Turnitin Originality was really its conception moment. So Kath Ellis, Thomas Lancaster are two educators who have dedicated their careers into researching contract cheating problems. They've estimated about 6 to 15% of all assignments that are turned in to a school in higher education are sourced from some kind of contract cheating behavior. Now, if you've got like 30,000 students and they each submit 4 assignments, that's 120,000 assignments total, right? So that means that about 12,000 of those assignments are likely sourced from contract cheating. So some more data to share. It's a study done by one of our partners out of Simon Fraser University showed that about 40% of all computer science homework that's turned in from students is actually copied from other students' work. And the contract cheating industry itself overall right now is valued over $1 billion worldwide. And the average price, if you wanted to get your homework done by a contract cheating website, costs about $30. Now, the good news about all of these terrifying collection of numbers you see on the screen now is that you're protected from all of this with your use of Turnitin and our new service. So our team's guiding principles are really to ensure integrity across all assignment and assessment types, and to further empower educators to help create more learning opportunities for students, and then also to facilitate critical thinking skills for students. So enough of that, let me show you how. Now this here is Maya. She is a little shy, but she has agreed to let us accompany her on her writing process here. So she has an assignment and a paper due in about a week, and she wants to be a therapist for her career. So she has chosen to write about Sigmund Freud. Now, like most of us here, Maya begins authoring her assignment in her favorite word processing software. In this case, it's Google Documents here, or it could be Microsoft Word. And what she's done here, and I'll show you, is she's gone into her tool and then opened up Turnitin Draft Coach. Now right here is an opportunity or a plugin that allows Maya to get citation and feedback information about her work as she's authoring it. I'm going to go into Similarity here for a second, and you can see that the content here is showing Maya where she might have some attribution or citation issues that she can correct even before she submits it for an assignment. The value here is Maya feels trusted by her instructor to take responsibility for her learning and for her integrity. And also she's understanding more about the idea attribution and this conversation around giving credit for ideas. And that's starting much, much earlier than in the assignment process than just the grading. This really contributes to a more powerful learning opportunity as opposed to just checking at the end of the assessment process. Now, I talk with dozens of schools each week that are incorporating this plugin into the support tools that they're offering students because it starts this dialogue about integrity much earlier, and it's also starting it with trust. So I'm about to move on. I'm giving you an opportunity to say, what do you think about this new feature? Is this something that you would want to offer your students as well? So feel free to put in any comments or questions that you have about this for the team, and I can catch up with some of those later on if we don't get to them during the chat. I'm going to move on to the next part of the process here, which is the point where Maya does submit her assignment. And now she's starting a conversation or dialogue with her instructor. Now what you're looking at here is the Turnitin Feedback Studio kind of document viewer. It's also available in Turnitin Originality. Now this is where it supports a conversation around the writing. And this is the portion here, or the part of the service or solution that we offer that integrates within a learning management system if you like. Now, not only can her instructor see the matches to the other content that maybe the other errors that maybe she didn't address or fix, but also they've got a number of other tools such as quick marks for drag and dropping and grading quickly, opportunity to provide text comments, voice comments. We have a rubric tool in here. There's also tools around something called ETS eReader. Stands for Educational Technology Services, and what that is providing grammar feedback, spelling, punctuation, and usage feedback automatically on the paper. This is something you can also enable to kind of speed up your process and feedback for students. Now, here is the main part where most instructors tend to start, which is the matches, and those are color-coded and ordered from most to least amount of matches. And clicking on it provides more details around that match. Now you might, if you use Turnitin, you're probably very familiar with this panel here. And there's the opportunity to filter and then sort to look at every single match. But I'm just pausing here for a minute because there might be something here that looks new to you. And that is this button here. And that is a feature capability that is only a couple weeks old for us. So I want to talk about it for a second. Let's just click on it and see what happens. This is information around whether the student has perhaps manipulated some of the text. Now, if you go on to Google and you type in, how to circumvent Turnitin, you find hundreds and hundreds of tips and tricks on how to work around the detection. None of them work. However, we realize that this is really interesting information for an instructor to have, because this means that your student is looking to take shortcuts. And why is that? Is that because they're struggling with the material or they're having time management issues? So now you can see that early on and address it and help that student get back on a solid academic path. So we're going to click here and look at one of these as hidden text. This is a trick where students will add in more gobbledygook content at the end of a paper in order to kind of decrease the amount of similarity and hoping just get past the instructor's attention or their threshold that they're looking for. And then one other thing I can show is just replace characters. This is a trick students use, maybe replacing the letter E with a Cyrillic E, which is the example here. The idea is students think that if they change the characters that the word actually changes and it will kind of circumvent detection, but it doesn't work. The Turnitin algorithm actually intuits what the letter should be, puts in the right language and still does the similarity check on it. But now you can have that information available to you. So this is an example where Maya started off pretty good, but you're noticing some intentional, we could say academic misconduct here, or at least just trying to get around some detection. So I'm gonna go back and visit that for a second. What if we visit Maya in an alternate universe and maybe she is feeling burdened and pressured and maybe ill-equipped for writing this paper about Sigmund Freud? One of the avenues that she could take is going to Google and typing in something like, help me write my essay. What happens is that $1 billion marketplace that I talked about earlier, where she doesn't see information on how to author and draft and write papers, but instead an enormous amount of businesses all around the world that are offering to write papers for very low cost. Just click into one for a second here. It's just a matter of putting in the paper type, the amount of pages, and the due date to get a quote, and then get a paper back pretty instantly. So let's say Maya does that. She pays 20, 30 bucks or dollars, and then she gets a paper back. First thing that might happen is the instructor might look at that paper and think, this doesn't really sound like Maya's work. This has inconsistencies in what I know about Maya. What can the instructor do at this point? What do you do when that happens? Well, a new document details panel here that we've offered and added into Originality. Now, this is surfacing some of the most common and obvious details that accompany contract cheating behavior. For example, the author name here, in this case, is an essay mill company or a contract cheating company. Now, believe it or not, we actually see the contract cheating company in the metadata quite a bit. So we do surface this, and that would make conversation very easy. Some other questions would be, who is Mark Vu? Is this someone that's in Maya's life, or is this further data? And another clue is that Maya lives and goes to school in the United States. And although her other assignments that she's turned in are in the typical US letter format, this assignment page size is actually A4. So that might be another indicator that something might be unusual or up. So these are easy details that help Maya's instructor confirm suspicion so that he can escalate it for investigation. Now, while the instructor is looking at this paper and investigating, something else is happening at the same time. There's a new dashboard feature here where Maya's name has just shown up as having a paper with two maybe common flags that we're marking for investigation. So when we left off, Maya's instructor was escalating this for investigation, but maybe the department chair or the dean could also see this and provide an investigation. I'm gonna step out of character in this story and just mention one thing. At any point, if there is interest in performing some kind of forensic linguistic analysis on a paper, it doesn't need to be in Turnitin in order to start. You could type in and you could upload an investigation paper and comparison papers directly in the tool and get some analysis. But one of the nicer benefits is having that paper ID available, something that the instructor would forward, because the analysis then can be done instantly without having to hunt for those papers. I'm going to go back here and click on Maya, and that's going to drop me right into the investigation report. One thing I wanted to mention, now I work with working with a large institution last week where they're using this dashboard here to measure the success of some academic integrity initiatives that they've started. And it actually started to see a decrease in the total number of cases showing up. So this has been a nice tool for them to take this baseline measurement and to be able to just track the success of these initiatives around even prevention or just awareness. So let's go back to Maya's paper here. Where did I put it? Is this Maya's paper? Yes, it is. Okay, so now I'm jumping into the actual investigation report. Now, everything we've looked at so far is either happening in Draft Coach, which is a plugin within the document software, or within the Turnitin tool that has the similarity report and the feedbacks, typically in a learning management system, or you could use the tool directly within our website. And now I'm in the third piece here, which is a separate dashboard for administration, leadership, and also anyone who does the full investigation or the adjudication of a case. We hope you never ever need to use this at all, but if you do, I'm going to provide these tools so that you can have a quick and confident process. Now, this is can't go into too much detail, but what we're looking at here is the paper itself that Maya submitted that she didn't write. And then it's taking all the other papers that Turnitin has in the system, and we're able to provide a comparison of that corpus of work against itself. A couple of key things to point out. We look at the metadata as far as the author name. You can see suddenly we've moved into Microsoft Office. We look at page size differences or software changes. Also look at just the similarity score around integrity itself. And we start testing for things as well, like hidden text. This is a demo account, so it doesn't quite have all the information in it. Really important detail here I want to cover is something called keywords. So contract cheating companies are big companies that have a freelance network that they use. And in order to manage and maintain a strong quality, they need to provide templates and standards in which they require all of their freelancers to use. And that enables us to reverse engineer that and test for a couple of details that typically show up in those templates. The first one being, in this paper here, we're testing for some keywords such as name or affiliation. Anytime in this report, when I'm looking at this, I can click in and actually go directly into the paper to look and provide more analysis. So here you can see, this is the header paper. It says name and institutional affiliation right there. It's kind of strange that a student wouldn't type their name, but just type in the placeholder instead. So that might be an opportunity to ask some more pointed questions. I'll run through this quickly, but we look at writing consistency styles, readability, the Flesch-Kincaid score, and test for changes in vocabulary, spelling changes, just writing style, editing habits as well. The shifts in spelling from regional areas, which is very important. And we even are able to look at the metadata that comes along with, a level of metadata that comes along with the images that are embedded in the text as well. And there's an opportunity to manage the cases here and provide additional notes as well. And then we provide a summary page to let the investigator know what the tool finds are some more of the bigger anomalies. So we'll move off of that here and just go back to talk more a little bit about college or university in itself is really set up to learn the skills needed to have a successful career and contribute to society. And learning itself should provide this safe place to be vulnerable and to grow and to learn and make mistakes. And so Turnitin, and specifically Turnitin Originality, can help you provide that scaffolding to help students learn integrity as they do their best original work. Now I'm going to check in with the team to find out if there are any specific questions they'd like me to answer. Well, Alexis or Megan?
Hi, Gabby. Yeah, I am just pulling up some questions.
Okay.
So yeah, the one is, I'm interested in the coding matching, and since coding is so specific, how does it detect cheating?
Great. Thank you for asking that. I'm really glad you did, because I realized I didn't keep it in the example here today. So we are able to provide information that shows identical segments of computer code across student submissions within a single assignment. And that feature is something, that capability is something we're offering not only in Turnitin Originality, but it's also the same capability that's offered in Gradescope. So we're going to see some overlap there. And yeah, it's just marking identical segments so that the instructor can have a conversation about integrity with the student, or coach around that if there is deemed an issue.
Great. And then one more question, just to clarify, when you say originality, is that the same as Similarity Index? If we already use Feedback Studio and the Similarity Index, will these options all be part of the license?
No, so they're a little bit different. I'm just going to start from here. So what you're talking about now, similarity, if you're talking about the similarity index, meaning like the percentage of match, like 13% or 23%, that's something that shows up within the document viewer. But everything up until what you've been using now has been focused on showing similarity and matches to something else in the world, which Turnitin had done very well. But the new pivot point that we have now is when students are getting original material authored for them. That material isn't going to match in the older Turnitin because it's new material, and that's where that gap was. And now, instead of not only showing similarity, which is content that exists somewhere else in the world, we're also now able to provide the full coverage and show when new content doesn't match necessarily the voice or the details of all the previous submissions for the student. So it's a different type of detection and tool that we're offering in this new upgrade called Turnitin Originality, or Turnitin Originality with Feedback Studio.
Great. And then there's one more in the chat here. A question about filtering the matches. Can you separate or filter the matches in the match overview based on student paper versus publication or internet source?
Let me see if I can. Yeah, that's interesting, and I'm glad Gretchen's on the phone because she can hear this request if that's something that you're interested in doing. So right now, the content here is available in two ways. Match overview, meaning the tool is providing the most valuable matches, or the largest matches, kind of consolidated here, and they're numbered. And then you have the option of seeing all sources, which is every single match that we found, even if the same content is repeated 5 or 6 or 7 different sites. We're listing every single combination permutation for you to evaluate. Your question was, can you sort by type of source? And right now, it's only listed by the highest to lowest percentage.
Great. And I think that's all of the questions that we have.
Okay, great, thank you. So I just shared a little bit about Turnitin Originality. It's a new standard in academic integrity that we're offering here at Turnitin. And just to summarize, this really offers a safe platform for those students to learn about integrity. And it also offers this direction for students and detection if they are starting to take shortcuts in their learning. And lastly, it offers evidence collection for when you do have to manage an academic misconduct case. Turnitin has a full suite of integrity and assessment solutions to help our heroes, which are the instructors, calmly and confidently focus their time and energy back into teaching. So thank you very much for your enthusiasm today. I know that the team has been frantically answering all of your questions and comments that you've been sharing in the chat. The team has been putting years into the development and design of what we're sharing with you today. And it's been so rewarding the past couple of weeks to really learn about how these tools have been resonating with educators across the United States and beyond. So thank you again. And if you have any more questions or you really want to get started right away, feel free to email me directly. My email's there. It's gsing@turnitin.com. Otherwise, your account manager is going to reach out to you this week and ask if you'd like to see a one-on-one demonstration so you can see these same capabilities in your learning management system or in your LMS or your environment. And also the team is going to share out a link to this recording here today so you can review it again if you want. So on behalf of Mariana and Tyler and Alexis, Gretchen, and myself, we want to wish you a really happy and healthy start to your fall term. I hope you have a great day.